on the air.
Hey, we're on the air. And welcome to Suzilla. I'm Suzie.
I'm Matt.
That's Matt. We're, of course, at Wenatchee Insurance here over in the lovely city of Wenatchee, Washington, where we handle insurance of all types. And we talk about all kinds of different things on our little podcast here.
Yeah, we've been doing this for going on 4 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
a
gosh.
while. We're, I think, episode like 130 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, we've been doing this about once a week, and we did have some days some weeks when we didn't manage to make a podcast, so we're not exactly even. But you know what? Overall, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, and well, today we're going to be talking about small business.
Small business. We talk about small businesses frequently.
Yeah, well, we are small business owners, so
that makes sense.
But it was the insurance agency down the street.
Okay.
They've been in play since 1997.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And yesterday they announced that, hey, end of May, they're gone.
They're closing their doors. Yeah.
And
was this a corporate decision or was this
it's
an
hard to say.
decision?
I'm not sure if they owned it. I know that there's another agency over in East Wenatchee, or at least someone with that address on the corporate website. They said that they're going to have a presence in festivals, and the majority of their business is done online.
Well, yes. That still takes a lot of dollars out of our community if you're buying your insurance online.
Well, that's the big issue. It's like, okay, let's just look at payroll.
Well, we don't know how many people were working there.
Even if it's one person there.
Yeah.
The average insurance agency agent brings about between 40 and 60,000
to their page, to their coffers.
To their household,
right.
Which is getting there. I think the median income in our area for a household is like 55,000.
So it's right in the median.
Yeah, so yeah. It's a good medium level job. Requires some training.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do a little bit of training. You have to pass a test. You can't be a criminal.
Right. No felonious stuff for you.
And that's in good standing. And they've been, there are another 5 insurance companies on Mission Street, ourselves included.
Okay. I actually hadn't done the map on that one, but it's good to know.
Oh, I wanted to look. There's one other captive and 3 others, including ours, and 3 others that are in the independents.
Okay. And then Chelan, which is one block up, has another row.
It has another row.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a healthy, thriving environment because, well, everyone needs insurance.
Yes.
And I've encountered, agents that have sold that product out in the wild before.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a few years.
Yes.
And that's one of the things where it's like, okay, well, what does the small business, what are they doing? Okay. And the reason I say this, what are they doing, is outreach is one of those things that we, as even despite doing this for years, we're kind of renowned for going to events and
just showing up, doing stuff. Well, and that's partly, I think, in some ways, it's because we have the whole health insurance angle, whereas that other business is all property. So that might have been a factor there. Whereas, health insurance, when we started this, people didn't know what was going on and how and needed education. So we started with being educational, and that evolved. Well, we're consistently being educational, but evolved more to just general outreach. And it's like, hey, we're here for you kind of feel.
Yeah, but we consistently do that. We've consistently done it.
We've always done it. I'm just saying that we started with as how we started, and we didn't have to. We could have stopped. Oh, everyone knows about the Affordable Care Act. We don't need to do this anymore. But we didn't want to do that because we're part of the community.
Well, every business has change.
I should hope so.
And they should be educating the local community about those changes on a regular basis.
And how they change. Now, like, for example, we changed our name.
Correct. So that's something that we go out and talk about. No one is, using the same cell phone they did 20 years ago.
The phone itself, no. Same phone number, yes.
Yes, with the cell phone. Now, despite Americans driving their cars longer, the average age of a car in a household is 12.1 years.
Interesting.
They've been slowing that aging up. Some of it has to do with the cost of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Some has to do with inflation, because when things get tight, people tend to stop buying newer vehicles. So yeah, there's some factors involved in that. If you're buying a newer vehicle, yes, you want to definitely do one of the local car lots. And the reason why is because those in our state, we have sales tax.
True.
So the sales tax turns around and fuels the local, the local city hall. Yeah, the sales tax goes to city hall in the county.
I did not know that. I thought it went into the state coffers.
No, it's more than that.
Oh, well, that's good to know. You got to make sure you're shopping the right place, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, you want to shop at reputable, and the only reason, if you know it, is you go online, you look at the reviews.
Yeah.
You talk to your friends.
Absolutely.
Who's going where?
Yeah, exactly. One thing so you're saying if you were to go to one of those .com buy my car online kind of things, you're not supporting your community like you would if you were to buy local.
You are reducing the funds in your community.
Because you're still going to pay the sales tax.
Because it was a big deal when the car lots went over in East Wenatchee across the river in New County.
Yeah.
All the sales revenue went over there.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
And that's something.
And it was a very large lot.
Yes. And that is something that, that fuels the economy on a regular basis. And I have to say regular basis, because the other thing that does it is housing starts.
Yes.
Your other small businesses out there, the contractors.
That's not easy to do right now. I mean, the last, 5 or 6 years, there's been, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like housing starts slowed down for a number of different reasons.
For some, they slowed down during COVID because of the interaction.
Yeah. And then there was the supply chain issues.
And then there's some supply chain issues, which to this day are still going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's improved a little bit, but there's still definitely some concern. There are definitely some issues and price updates.
Yes.
Yeah.
The pricing has driven the cost of houses up, and
the cost of
materials.
raw materials have gone up a lot.
Yes. It's hard to say if the actual cost has gone up or the profits have gone up.
That's a hard one. That's a big question. That's a question that's been going around for a while now. How much of this is just greed from the corporate level?
Yeah, and it's a fair question. I can't say, hey, every small business is just cranking up their prices, causing a $20 hamburger.
No.
It really depends on what they're doing and what they're doing for supplies. Because everything has incrementally gone up. We're actually one of the better countries in the industrialized world for inflation. However, when you see record profits and higher prices,
you gotta wonder where's the money going.
There's some manipulation there. Then you throw in the NASDAQ first time ever crossed 40,000.
Oh, that's great, but who's profiting from that? Certainly not your average Joe on the street.
Yes.
Because that's not.
So those are big business indicators. That's why I don't pay attention. It's like, okay, big business is fun. It's like, yes, they can do it. We saw when big business left our town, what happened to the economy?
It slipped.
We had Alcoa here for years.
Decades.
Employing hundreds, if not thousands of people at a time.
Right.
And when they left our community, it was a big punch.
It was huge.
Big punch in the gut.
a huge amount of unemployment, which most people landed okay through retraining. Thank God for little waivers. But it impacted the amount of dollars coming into the, because those people, they got these new jobs, but they weren't making as much.
Yeah.
So their income reduced, so their spending reduced, so on and so on and so on and so on.
That's why I always support the small businesses, because if we, it's like, hey, they employ 500 people. Well, what if we had 100 businesses that employed 5 people?
Exactly.
We got the same amount of employment going on. We got the same households. If there's a tiny slip and we lose 5 businesses, oh my gosh, we still got that amount. If we lose one big business, it's a lot bigger impact.
That's one of the drawbacks to leaning for communities that were built around large industries. Because look at the city of Detroit. The entire city was built around the automotive industry.
Yes, and they couldn't.
And eventually, that was not sustainable. Because of the change in the automotive industry,
and it's shrinking.
Yes, and the city of Detroit has gotten smaller. Its footprint is not as large as it used to be. I don't know I know their population's down, but it's also starting to recover from all of this. It's starting to grow and get some.
It's stabilizing.
It's stabilizing, and I'm looking forward to the day when they start to really thrive again.
It's hard. I hear good things and bad things. It's kind of still a big mixed bag of what's going on in the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
We have to look at, in our area, what's going on. One of the big constrictions that we were experiencing right now is the amount of children going to elementary schools.
That is true. There are fewer kids going to our public elementary schools because there is a population drop. There's also been a during and after COVID, some people went to more homeschooling and private schooling, and so our public schools have had a lower population, and that also might be just population driven, just overall population driven.
It's hard to say because yes, our public schools have a increased competition. Some of it's genuine and some of it's disingenuine.
True, some of it's completely fabricated.
And I look at that as I was afforded a public education, and my parents actually insisted upon it because they understand the importance of social interaction.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to meet everyone that looks like me and acts like me and has the same background.
There you go. That's where public education can be handy, is you get a wider variety of humans in your world.
Yes.
Whereas if you just stick with, if you stick in the same pond, you're not going to, your fish are all just going to all look the same, and that's no fun.
Well, you get that symmetry.
Yeah.
That if you have a large, an extinction level event, if you're all going to the same job.
Yeah. There you go.
If you eat the same potato salad at the potluck,
and everyone gets the same food poisoning,
that's why you want that diversity.
Yeah, diversity
in small business is really important.
Super important, because if there's for so many reasons, diversity also gives strength.
Yes,
because if you look at it from a genetics standpoint, you want diversity in the gene pool. Otherwise, you end up with grand flaws. And so it's also true with diversity, and that kind of parallel goes to diversity in business as well. Because like I said, if you end up with, and we'll see these trends once in a while, is you end up with, 17 of the same business. We've noticed this when the economy gets a little tight. We see a lot of thrift shops open up.
Well, yeah, we see the things that you don't want to see in your neighborhood: thrift shops, pawn stores, precious metal resellers,
and probably the payday loan folk.
Payday loans are another one. we're kind of a little bit sheltered in Washington State because of the laws around payday loans.
They're still out there, but they're not as vicious as they used to be.
Yes, our Washington State saw how nasty they were getting, and they said, "Hey, we're going to put some consumer protection."
There was some hardcore predation going on with those businesses,
and that's really important to look at. And that's why I say we got to look at small business.
Exactly, because if we can support the small businesses, we won't need these. We might not need these other businesses.
It's not. It's like if people make it a habit to use small businesses, you're putting more money into the local economy.
Exactly.
You're doing more transactional sales. It's like, yeah, cool. You not only got the salary income, you've got, hey, if they're doing advertising.
There you go.
Hey, if they're going out and sponsoring events. We can't just look at, hey, this is the big corporate sponsor. And then the corporate sponsor, hires or even has volunteers show up for an event that are disingenuous and uninterested.
Yeah.
For Pride, because Pride's,
it's coming
up quick, they have a lot of rainbow washing.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last year, where it's usually a large corporation trying to pretend that they give a crap.
Yeah, and that's a very apt thing. They're large corporations interested in your dollars, so they put on a veneer.
Yep, and they do that. They've done that with cancer research. Breast cancer was a big one. They tried with prostate cancer, but it didn't catch as strongly. But it's the same. It is the same theme over and over and over again. If you are talking to a small business who is supporting Pride, for example, odds are really good. It's because they really do support Pride.
Yes.
They're not just out trying to get them gay dollars.
And that's a really important distinction on where those businesses are spending their dollars.
Yeah.
I've seen two community boards, one over in Chelan, was talking about the Rotary supporting a Pride fundraising event that they were selling tickets for 21 and up.
Yay!
And
good job, Rotary.
And there was a business owner that came in and said, "I'm never going to support Rotary again because of this." Well,
that's on him.
That is on him. This is not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. However, it is important to note that, hey, good job, Rotary, for sticking up. It's a 21 and over event.
So you can't do as for the children.
It's fun. It's a fundraiser for a community organization that is centered around rights, human rights.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not political.
No.
It's human rights.
Yes.
Because people deserve to be treated like people. Now, in kind, we've seen similar down in Yakima.
Yes.
Yakima, it was a vote of 4-2, voting down a proclamation to support Pride Month. And the Yakima Pride did a wonderful job in saying, hey, let's support us. And it was just like, oh my gosh, horrible. There's those 4 council people that did that.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've got a connection through a church. And that's that same that goes through it.
Yeah.
They're not looking at their constituents. They're not looking at the business that they bring in. Because Yakima Pride, we attended last year. It was massive.
And it was really exceptional.
So we're talking millions of dollars in revenue for just that one event. Yeah. And they do multiple events throughout the year.
Yep. But because this church decided they want to impose their standards of morality on the community, they said no.
Mm-hmm.
That's not freedom of religion, gang.
No. And that's one of those things, and hopefully they'll come back and do it. However, they are empowered by that church for that decision.
Yeah, and
they're empowered. That church is empowered to push that agenda by the businesses that support it.
Yep. And we're running into similar situations here in the Wenatchee Valley.
Yes.
We've got a mega church. Well, they're not officially mega yet, but they're certainly working on it.
They are very well organized in how they direct their funding.
Right. And what they're doing is they are...
And they're not the only one.
No. But there's one specific that has a tendency to get the big press about what's going on.
It's one of those things, if you're looking around at bad policies, at policies that persecute, look at the dollars that go into that church, because I guarantee they're telling people how to vote, and they're telling people where to spend their money.
Absolutely, they are.
So if you've got those in your lives, because it came up in one of the indivisible boards, it's like, oh, hey, this is horrible, this business decision. It was like, well, look, it's a politician spreading it. Who
owns a politician?
Well, we know who owns the politician.
Yeah.
It's like, who has a counterpoint that is favorable to your side?
There you go. And then patronize them.
The only reason the politician is saying those words is because they've got backing, financial backing.
It's usually about the dollars.
It's always about the dollars.
Yeah.
So you look at it, it's like, okay, well, who's financially backing this? Well, it's a small business. Then you go look, well, where are the small businesses congregated at? Well, most of them are congregated around a chamber of commerce.
Yeah.
Who's looked at their local chamber of commerce recently to see on how they advocate? Yeah,
we've had some weird conversations with our local chamber of commerce over the years, and we've had a kind of adversarial relationship with them off and on.
Yeah,
because they don't match up with our business's take on the world.
They don't match up with small business.
They really don't, do they? Which is weird, considering they're supposed to be supporting small business.
Well, that's the veneer.
Yeah, when you chip away at the veneer, you see the rot underneath.
And it's really it's a harsh way to look at it, but that's the veneer. I talked with someone today that they were going to offer services to their members, and they said, "Oh my gosh, we have to think about this." Yeah, and I'm like, that's not new business friendly.
No, they were actually going to offer a free service, which would have been awesome for new members of our Chamber of Commerce. And they said, nah, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. It's like, dude, what's to think about? Just send the proposal to the board and it's all good. But I bet you that, we have to think about it. Never even got to a board meeting.
And that's fine. So
that's on them.
So yeah, I'm going to put together a proposal, see what we can do, so I can feed that business more customers.
There you go.
Because what they offered was solid for our community to oh my gosh, educate the community about new businesses.
Absolutely. And that's not we like small businesses. We are a small business. We support small businesses. In a lot of ways, our business is built because of small businesses, because small business owners need health insurance because they don't work for some big corporation. And those small businesses come to us to help them find their health insurance. So it all clicks together. Yes.
Since we're a more rural part of the state, there's about a 250,000 people where we live. A little over half of the under 65 use our state exchange.
Yeah.
In our area.
To find policies on the Affordable Care Act.
The fact that me as a person who not only uses it has to go out and regularly advocate to our representatives on a regular basis because they're not seeking to improve it. Is the first chance that someone pops up and says, "Hey, I'm going to support this. I'm going to make it better." We're in.
Yeah,
it's that simple. And The scary thing is the fact that it's gone 12 years with some of these individuals without them, wanting to support.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't see the value in supporting the individual and the small business families.
No, they really don't. And that's really frustrating for me. By not supporting the Affordable Care Act and not supporting this, they are definitely not supporting small business, because that is one of the things that stops entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It absolutely stops them cold. What do we do about health insurance? What happens if? Because if you don't have insurance and you have a small business and you get bit by a shark, you'll lose everything. Everything.
Well, I was floored when we went to our high school and did a career day.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I was floored. This was the first time that we did this, that we had high school students talking about starting their own business.
Yes, that was super exciting. We had 3 or 4 of them who've got business licenses and are ready to go.
And that level of entrepreneurship, as they see the non-functioning of the large business and the large corporations, and they're ready to strike out. They just need the tools and the knowledge on how to do it.
Exactly. And I am so happy to support and be part of that toolbox. I really am. It's kind of exciting.
And because one of the things we plugged in last year was to our economic district. And I cannot stress enough about these economic districts that are set up to help provide tools and training and resources to up and coming and current businesses. There are tools out there, and I tell people, it's like, get plugged into these, get plugged into. And if they're not functioning, get those board members replaced.
Yeah, there you go.
And replaced with someone that is excited about small business in the community. It just can't be someone that, hey, instead of out on the golf course puttering around, I'm going to putter around on a corporate table and tell people how things were done 20 years ago.
It never works.
It never works, because the speed of business these days, the last 4 years has really highlighted the importance of technology in every single business.
Absolutely. COVID created there wasn't a lot that good that came out of COVID, but one of the good things that did have, we got a boom in internet, in digital and virtual connectivity. We as insurance agents, we were set up and ready to go with more internet conversations. But the insurance companies finally got on board with more digital applications and ways to reach out to folks. That's just one example.
Oh, that's just one example.
And then there are so many more beyond that for other opportunities. Online shopping became the thing because it was really hard to go to a store safely. You can own your own business and do both in-person and virtual shopping. And you just got to learn how to do it. And you've got to have that board ready to be part of that.
As a business owner, I don't have, a lot of time. It is just stinking awesome when another small business sets up a shopping application where I can go pick up my groceries, or I can pick up my pet supplies.
Yep.
By just driving up, and here's your order ready to go.
Yep, that's kind of awesome. It works great for folks who are on the go.
And that is just critical. It's just like, I don't have all the time, but if I can set up an order that, hey, I beat feet out, an extra, 30 minutes early and get a pickup, it saves me hours of time.
Absolutely, it does.
That I can spend either with my business and customers or with my family. So those applications like that is, hey, I have a running relationship with our postal worker. Because I make sure I say hi, because they deliver all sorts of stuff to us because we can't get out. We have literally opening parties of supplies that are being shipped in from different insurance companies.
It's true.
So I'm going to have a relationship with them. I'm going to talk to them. And it's like, hey, I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to worry about them when I don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that small town charm in this century.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest takeaway that you got is look at your small business. Look on who they're doing business with.
Mm-hmm.
Look on what they are doing. Are they reaching out to the community?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they, are they ghosting the community?
There you go.
Are they spend time out on the golf ranges of Florida? There are 100 different ways to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want genuine small businesses to thrive, you've got to use them.
That's right. Absolutely. That's a good place to stop.
So, hey, have a good week.
Yes, indeed.
We will be back next week for
another episode.
Another episode of Suzie.
Same time, same place.